Right, there we go. It was Streamlabs. Hang on a second. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let's Build Live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are well. Yes, actual sound. Streamlabs had, for some reason, decided to change what input it was going to use for my microphone. Because Streamlabs be Streamlabs. However, we have got over that. All the better for seeing that delight in D form. It had to come in, didn't it? There was no way I could not sit the D class in here. You've seen what I'm sure a lot of you have seen what I said about it on Discord, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen about what I've said about it on RMWeb. But I would like to clarify it is a fantastic model. Obviously, it's not the centre of this stream. This is the centre of this stream, the O class. But well, I know you want to see it. It is absolutely incredible. See, the lettering's too close together. The crest really is actually a bit naff considering the price. Never mind the printing of the letters and the finish on these. But it is a fantastic model. So yeah, there is that. Weird, I didn't get that impression of the D-class from you. I'm not surprised you didn't get that impression from me. I wasn't trying to give that impression. I'm hoping to film a review of it tomorrow and get that up on Tuesday. Then it will be the centre of attention in front of the camera. I should have time to do it tomorrow. If not, it'll come next week. Interesting that Matt likes the coat of arms. Yeah, oh, you've seen my close-up pictures of them. Everyone else's crest on the side is better than that one. And they were all a lot cheaper, so what can I say? It's gorgeous livery. It is, isn't it, Kevin? It's very D-classy. It is rather D-classy. Rather regular classy as well, if you ask me. Good evening, Alexander. How are you? I hope you are well. Yes, it's hard. Me like you. Yes, so do I. I like you very much. For the D of joy. I have it looks less optimal than the Hornby Batman ones, but not terrible. Hornby Batman Hattons. Yeah. It for the price, it should be legible. Everyone else managed it for less money. That alone, you know, I think that goes to stand with my previous comments that I believe that the factory that Dapol use cannot do liveries to the same quality as others. And I believe that's the reason. But there we go. That's enough of that. For more reviews from me, this week's Brighton Circle, this half years, yeah, because it's every 6 months, Brighton Circle Modeller's Digest came out earlier today. It's issue 13. There is a review of the Hornby Stroudley carriages in it by someone or other, who I hear has reviewed them a few times before. And there is a review of some B1 transfers in there. That's the Brighton B1, so the Gladstones. So yeah, also by the same person that did those. So if you like reviews by me, go check that out. There's loads of other really good stuff in there as well. Coat of arms and tops panel on the N-Gage Class 50 seem alright. They may use more than one factory. Well, that's true. They may well do. Who knows? I'm not a reviewer. I don't want to be a reviewer, but reviews exist. And they do well, so who am I to argue? So, O-Class, you know, the thing we're here for. It's very black at the moment. It needs to be a tiny bit less black. By which I mean it needs lots and lots of red lines put in on it. So we've got lots and lots of red lines. We also have, because I am, you know, I am a professional modeller now, so we're taking this professional modelling thing seriously. Some microset and microsol. I've literally never used these before and have no idea what I'm doing with them. I've read the instructions on the bottles. That is it. So this should be fun. What I think we're going to do is put a coat of red paint across the buffer beam on the loco and then do the lining transfers on the tender whilst that dries. See? Thinking. Have you not watched microcell set YouTube videos? I have not. No. God, this isn't smell-o-vision. I have also, in the interim since last week, painted the insides. So everything has now had a coat of black. There is no exposed resin anywhere to react to UV should it get any. Central wheel, it did, it's there. So the central wheel at the moment is just sitting in this channel. So what we're going to do at some point is some plastic art across there. I'll put something in there to spring it a bit as well and give it some tension to the track. Give it some force pressing down on it for the track. Yeah, all that good stuff. You can tell my brain's working well this evening, can't you? Hydration is important, everyone. So yes, as I say, first, drill a hole and put a wheat spring above the axle. Do I have any? No. Helpful. I was thinking a bit of sponge, which I have used before. It's a very small bit of sponge right across the length. It can be pressed down in anywhere, takes the pressure quite nicely. That's the word I was after, I think. Maybe. It might not have been. So yeah, first we're going to paint the buffer beam. No, not Victoria sponge, James. That would be silly. Spring is nice, but my hopper wagons just use plastic card and rotate fine. It's up to you. Don't let me discourage you from doing it properly. But I kind of feel like I have to do it properly these days. What with the fact I get paid to do this modelling thing. Well, James, there you go. Blue tack. Good paint, this one. Definitely don't need to replace this tin of paint at all. Nope. I don't know what you're on about. This tin of paint is just fine. See, look, there's red on there. It must be fine. Definitely fine. Nothing wrong with this tin of paint at all. I don't know why you would suggest such things. So there we go. With that done, we'll leave the loco body alone for now. No, Taurus Punch here has some rather nice honey and cinnamon glazed cashew nuts. I have the best dessert in the world sat in the fridge because dinner was too big. It is a cookie dough based dessert and it is wonderful. Unfortunately, it's not homemade, it's bought from Tesco, so yeah. And there is the bot reminding us that we should all smash that like button or give it a gentle tap if you would prefer. And whilst you're there, make sure if you haven't already to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you get alerted whenever I go live or upload a video or any of that good stuff. You know, do all those things that YouTube wants you to do and wants me to tell you to do. Because if you all did it, then YouTube wouldn't want me to tell you to do it, and I wouldn't have to keep repeating this. Isn't that clever? I'm clever of YouTube, not of me. So, microset. We put the microset on, then we put the transfer in the water, then we put the transfer on the side, then we put the microsol on. At least that's what Gary believes. Please do tell me if I'm wrong. I missed the pudding talk while under the layout. Oh, well, that's a shame, James. Pudding talk is all done with now. We can't talk about puddings anymore. Oh, what a shame that you missed it. Let's remove these staples and then rather worrying that it broke into pieces. There's the other one. There it is. So I just use water for my transfers. Well, as you know, I have done in the past, and that has always been my go-to. I don't need all these posh tools and things, but now that people pay me to do this, I'm going to try them out. Too late for me to say I have plum cake today. And all very nice. Very nice indeed. So, there we are. Transfers are out. So I have above me, on the pinboard, a picture of an O-class, which I have cut out as much background as possible before printing, because obviously I don't want to do that. I've also then made it brighter so that there's less black, because let's try and save some ink here. So the way this goes, let's get the pokey bits. We have 2 panels on each side of the tender with inward curved corners, and they are double lined in red because they couldn't possibly be easy, could they? So that is corner, 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 corner. Yeah, this will be fun. I definitely won't mess up hundreds of times. Which is why I have a second sheet of transfers. Because, you know, I will and all that. Did you not get double red lining? No, that would have been too easy. Don't be silly. When have you known me to do anything the easy way? So we're going to start. We're going to use these corners here because they're nice small corners. And I think they will look fine. Thanks, Focus, for focusing on something else. Appreciate it. There we go. I think they will look fine as the corners of our panels there. So I'm going to get this brush that has not been used before. I'm going to have to start buying the other colours of brush that we have at work, because we have red handled ones and we have black handled ones. If I buy some black handled ones that are for things that are not paint, I will remember that they are for things that are not paint. So I've never used these before, so I'm doing this on a single transfer first. Just a single corner, so that I can learn what I'm doing. Put a blob of paint on the end of the handle. I could. That would be way too easy though. This auto blooming light adjustment, auto colour temperature adjustment on the camera has no idea what it's doing this evening, does it? About as much idea as that microset knows what it's doing. It's just kind of pulled up. Is it supposed to just pull up in one place? I kind of assumed it would spread out a bit. Obviously this is on me for not trying the stuff out and learning what it does and how it works before doing the live stream. That's better. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. And then we get the microsol. I'm assuming I'm fine to use the same brush for this. And apply it over the top where it also pulls up. I'm assuming it's the finish on this wagon, on this tender, that's causing it to do that. And then we have a red corner. There we go. I am well, thank you. I hope you are as well. I am indeed. I am indeed. But that, in theory, is that. And yeah, it's not looking bad, thankfully. So now I'm going to very confidently open both of these and not spill them everywhere. You guys, what's been a while? It's been a bit testing personally. Had a great for watching the Master Royal once more. Hope all are chipper. Good evening, Bob. Good to have you here. Sorry to hear things have been a bit testing. I hope you are well. And that is all sorted for you now. So you join us. We are working on the South Eastern Railway O-Class, going into South Eastern Railway livery. So this is pre-South Eastern and Chatham. It's a 3D printed kit, and we are just working on some transfers now. And we are being all posh and using microset and microsol that I've never used before, and I have no idea what I'm doing, so you know, it's all good. Take some of the water off that transfer. We go now. There's only a little blob left, and it's not a big puddle. Now that I've got this one in place using both, I'm going to try and get the rest of the panel done with the micro set, and then we'll put the micro sew on afterwards. So I might as well close this one. Southeastern livery, that's me thinking it would be a rare example of an O that made it through SR and PR areas without being rebuilt. I believe there were some that didn't get rebuilt. But no, we are going for this livery. So it is Southeastern Railway livery. Before that thing back there. Which I know you're all dying to look at. Probably more interesting than me anyway, isn't it? To be honest, I'm not sure what would be more insane. This or BR livery one tiny bit like this at a time. No, we never get to see you. Well, you've seen me, Linny, so you know that's for the best. Managed to gather together a variable temperature soldering iron, various temperature solders, flux, a mini blowtorch to venture into white metal signal construction kits. All very nice. I wouldn't want to use the blowtorch on them. Have you seen I did a video on white metal soldering last year, Bob? Showing it's really not as hard and scary as some people claim it is. Because, I mean, I can do it. I see livery looks cool. It does, and it gives me something different, which I like. Must catch up on it. Yeah, it's either the first or second video in my Brighton K class series. Is a how to do white metal soldering. It is the best performing video on the channel, actually. Oh, sorry, no. It was the best performing video on the channel until I did that review of the Hornby four-wheelers, which knocked it down into second place very quickly. Which, I'll be honest, whilst I love the views that gave me and the new subscribers and everything that gave me, oh, I've forgotten to cut one out, is not what I was after. Because of all the things I can be in life, I do not want to be a reviewer. It's the link on your site. It will be somewhere. Yeah, it definitely will be somewhere. I don't suppose anyone had easy access to that site, to that link that they could post in the, that they could post somewhere. Through those four-wheelers was amazing. Thank you. Another review of them by me has just gone out today, for those that missed the announcement at the start. The latest edition of the Brighton Circle Modeller's Digest was published today, which includes an updated version of my written review from RM Web. And a brief how to detail them. Which I still haven't done a video for. I really do need to get round to that. They are all sat in the bottom of my spray booth because I don't want to detail anymore until I'm ready to do that video. Right, now the question is, do I do... Yeah, I think I'm going to do the sides of this and then do the box inside it. If I move that out of the way quickly. I can cut a full length one of these off the sheet. And then I can use the line to do the measuring, if that makes sense. I'm sure it doesn't because it came out my mouth. Things I say don't make sense. So what I mean is I can place that there. And put a nick in it. And that can be how I measure up the sides. See? I know what I mean, even if I'm talking gibberish. Which is good, because I usually am. So yeah, microset, definitely not a fan of being on the side of this tender. Aha, my guide to white metal soldering has just appeared in Works Chatter on Discord. So if one of the mods could grab it out of there, in fact no, I can do that, I'm sat next to the laptop, aren't I? Thank you, Paderborn. Copy message link. And there you are, Bob. There is a link to the white metal soldering guide. And good evening, Andy. How are you? I hope you are well. You join us for one of those really exhilarating live streams where I'm doing transfers. Victor, I just typed in when you said it. Oh yeah, but YouTube's stupid and wouldn't let you post it. it would say no links allowed, because it's stupid like that. However, Bob, it was Paderborn that found it for you. As I say, that was my most successful video until I did that review of the four-wheelers. Great thanks, sure they would be wonderful transfers. I hope so. Especially with the effort it's going to take to get them right. Talking of YouTube, who has noticed the recent update to TOS allowing Google to put adverts in people's videos without asking them for it or getting any money from it. I wish that was a recent thing. That was best part of 6 months ago they updated that now. I don't know why people have started talking about it again, but yes, I am well aware and I'm not a fan. And what's worse is they set it up so that people that are already in the YouTube Partner Program, which requires you to have 1,000 subscribers, could opt out of it. Would you believe me not having, me having less than 1,000 subscribers? I would love to opt out of it, but I'm not allowed and never will be, no matter how many subscribers I get. And that annoys me as well. The fact that there are some people who get to say, no, I don't want that, and will never have to deal with it. About the deduction of US tax, even if you don't have to pay them. Oh, now that's slightly different. That is a US tax law that says they have to do that, unless you fill out a form for the US government to state that you are not a US taxpayer. That has always been a thing on Patreon, where obviously all my money comes from for doing this. So for me, that's something I've already been doing. I have that form filled out and done. We'll post my tents, Walsall on Cambrian Street, white metal signal kits as and when. I look forward to seeing them, Bob. I really do. Having seen how well you've done with everything else, I have no doubt that you will get the hang of white metal soldering and be fantastic at it. No worse than UK government inspection small traders in every other country in the world to fill out UK VAT return in order to sell small orders to the UK. No, it's not. But as usual, people are putting the blame on YouTube. And whilst YouTube do a lot of shady stuff, they don't purposely make things harder and harm creators because it harms them as well. You're too kind, Harry. I mean every word I say, Bob. You have done a fantastic job on that layout so far. And I look forward to seeing how you get on with the white metal soldering. Please stop now. You heard the boss. Alex is a very good mod and knows when to slap wrists, including my own, so we listen to him. Once I set off establish a form of China, it will be okay. Slime Rancher is getting a sequel. I'm really excited for the game as it's so precious and adorable. I would love to get excited with you, but I have no idea what it is you're talking about. So there's that. Fixed. I'm sure it can. But not right now, it can't. And there we go, look, we've got almost a box. But it's certainly going to make it stand out a lot more. So which means you see there's another one of these to go here, and then they've got ones to go inside them as well. And there'll be handrails across the top, there'll be springs that come up in front of them. I do find it quite interesting. The handrail run along the top is above the lining, but the springs come over it. Go. That in there. Make another attempt to put this on the side without it just pulling up. Fail miserably. So yeah, I take it for those that know Microset that this is just the finish on my wagon is on my tender is the reason it's pulling up like that rather than spreading out, and it doesn't always do that. Always pulls for me, but that's okay, so does water. Fair enough. So with these longer bits of transfers, it does seem to spread down the transfer once it hits the pool. So I guess it's still doing its job. Anyone else had their chat disconnected? I haven't, but I can't say I use it. Oh no, don't get caught on there. I think this bit might be dead now. Hydration is important, everyone. Let's try that again, shall we? Well, Kevin, I'm just going to say, from what I'm seeing, either everyone's had their chat disconnected and they can't respond to you, or no one has, and that's why they're not responding. Who knows? No, but it went huge in the screen for a time, reverted now. How strange. Shouldn't be that huge in the screen, should be sort of, well, normal size. I'm going to say normal size because I didn't set it to huge sizes. I just wish that with the on-screen chat, Streamlabs would let me have a border colour around the text. Because that would certainly make it easier to read. I'd like to do it as black text with a slight white border. But no, they don't support that feature. And that's the sharp edge crack in the sandwich box lid removed, so the razor saw and files can be put away again. So you remove the sharp bits so you can add sharp bits. Is that what I'm hearing? Speaking of hydration, our grandpa thought was lemon seltzer and some pleasant surprise by orange vanilla. Like melted creamsicle. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting flavour. Definitely think lemon sounds better. Especially if you're not expecting it. Sharp bits removed and the remaining edge smoothed out. Modelling tools can be useful for household jobs too. They can indeed. My modelling tools are very familiar with the fact that they are useful for household jobs. Just like some of my regular tools are very familiar with the fact they're useful for modelling jobs. One red box. Not good as carbonated flavour water. No. So what happens if you get this message? Well, I certainly got that message, Kevin. Well, I believe that some chat messages are being censored by YouTube. In theory, the chatbot should censor some messages. Sandwich bots isn't that big. Yes, confirmed. Any mention of peer-to-peer alternative for YouTube is automatically and silently censored. This is very sinister. I don't know if that's in my list. That there are a lot of words in my list of censored stuff. Through the chatbot rather than through YouTube. So you might want to test that elsewhere before assuming it's YouTube. It might be my chatbot. And I can't remember where I look at the list in there to see what's on it. There we go. Words and all that. So let's do 4 more corners. It's over here. I was looking for this. Did you censor the tube of peers in your chat? I honestly don't know what's in it, James. I could not tell you. I'm just saying, I know it has it has a list in it of things it's censoring, and I do not know where to check for what is on it. So before assuming anything is YouTube, try it on somewhere else. It might be that it's the chatbot, not YouTube. Definitely didn't forget the word YouTube there, you'll be glad to know. Said nothing controversial. No, I don't think you have for a second, Kevin, don't worry. Surely you wouldn't have any reason to censor P insert words tube. Doesn't mean it's not on the list. Dude. Remember, the chatbot is also made by Streamlabs, who are owned by evil overlord companies who don't respect the fact that I use their equipment out of choice. So they might be censoring things like that because it's not a supported thing in Streamlabs. Right. Let's see if I can dry these patches of water quick. Drop the next one of those in there. I keep chucking this away. I know it's not nice looking because it's all dirty and horrible and covered in paint, but that's kind of the point of it. In connection with YouTube TOS discussion. Oh, fair enough. But as so it could be that Streamlabs chatbot is blocking it. Not YouTube. Streamlabs has changed since I've been using it. It's not as friendly as it used to be. Every other time I open it, it runs an ad for one of its services across the top of the screen. And I'm like, hang on a second, I don't want any of these extra services you offer. I just want to be able to use your live streaming. You already get a cut if people donate midstream. What more do you need? To avoid Streamlabs getting a cut, instead of donating, sign up to my Patreon, patreon.com/OakHillModelRailway. Please don't sign up to my Patreon because of that. If anyone wants to go and sign up to my Patreon right now, just don't do it because I said that. Can you not just use basic OBS? I could, but then I'd miss out on all the features that Streamlabs added to it, which is open source. Yeah, I'm aware it's open source because Streamlabs is built on the OBS source. Streamlabs is a fork of OBS. And it has a lot of nice features that make it a lot more user-friendly for me. So the use of their chatbot isn't mandatory, I just choose to use it because it provides a good service. Does the job and does it well. But there is a lot of stuff that I do use that Streamlabs supports and OBS doesn't. There we go, look, we've got some double lining on the corners. OBS doesn't give me nearly as nice a user interface as Streamlabs does. But whilst we're talking about these things though, James, and alternatives and all that, whilst I'm not going to make the jump, does the peer-to-peer alternative to my current overlords support live streaming yet? At a theoretical 1080p, because as I say, in theory I'm streaming at 1080p and YouTube should serve it to you at 1080p. Believe that it does support live stream, yes, never get your streams. Interesting. Last time I looked through their things, they very explicitly stated they did not support live streaming on their frequently asked questions. And thank you for the donation, Linny. Did we hear the sound that time, everyone? I am curious. And good evening, Javier. How are you? I hope you are well. I heard it. There was a quiet peep peep. I mean, that's better than none. So it is supposed to play it to you as well as playing it to me. I heard the sound in the background. It was coming through your speakers and microphone. Right. Stupid Streamlabs. That is all Streamlabs. Because all those notifications are handled by them. Good evening, Red. How are you? I hope you are well. Fairly well. That's better than fairly bad. Especially if you're a double-ended loco. I just spent a lovely Father's Day with my dad. Excellent. This is what I like to hear. Digest has also dropped FY. Oh, I know. I mentioned it on Discord earlier. I've mentioned it on the live stream twice. A message has just popped up telling me my OneDrive is updating. Could that be the problem? That should be nothing to do with it. OneDrive is a thing on your computer. I'm assuming you're on Windows 10 from that message. OneDrive comes pre-installed with it. It stores all of your documents and stuff and keeps them backed up online. That is the theory. Look at that, it's not pulled along there, it's just letting me painting it along quite nicely. How strange. That's really weird. I saw some article from some people I know, infamous. Well, there was 2 articles from me, Andy. I'm all over it. Have you degreased the surface? I mean, it's had a wash since last week, but it's not since I painted the first lot on. That was about it. Good, Eric's amended my little slip up. So that's fairly well of him. Excellent. Glad to hear it, have you? Infamy, infamy. They've all got infamy. Why not involve marketing to watch anyway? But hopefully your chat starts working properly and all your messages get through. That is what I want to hear, Kevin. But it is, of course, good to know that you are finally able to join in the stream after all those weeks where you couldn't. Okay, cheers. Yes, Windows 10. See, that's my previous life as an IT support bod coming through. No, I'm not totally blind. You're totally blind. Double line in across the top. Go on, focus on the right thing. No, you're going to focus on the worktop, of course. There we go. Double line in across the top. No, that didn't just happen, did it? Let's move this and pull the microset off this. Go on, everyone. Give it the paint spill command. You know you want to. You're all welcome to it. Thinking after leaving here off road, the heat is making me very sleepy. Fair enough, Lenny. Thank you for coming by. Sleep well and all that jazz. That was a full bottle. It's now down to there. That was completely full, only just opened this evening. There's nothing where it is that it can damage, so it can stay there and dry out of its own accord. One point, are the coaches okay? Yes. It was just a bit on the footboard. And the D class is okay as well. Times like that call for hydration. It's important. See, the good thing is, everything over here is kept in pots. So there is nothing actually on the bench for it to damage. The other good news is we stock microset and stuff at work. So I get a discount on replacing it. Still have bloody on the list. I did let you sleep early on stream, but apologise straight afterwards. Not that I'm aware of, it's not. So I did see it come through earlier, so it shouldn't be. Plus, I mean, my general rule is, if you could get away with saying it on the BBC before 9 o'clock, then it's okay. No, no, you to be kicked. Well, fairly sure one can say PeerTube on the BBC before 2100 hours. You would think so, wouldn't you? But I've never heard them say it, so we can't confirm that. You know, someone from the BBC might have heard of PeerTube and that it's peer-to-peer and think that means it's all about file sharing and breaking copyright law, and therefore have decided to ban PeerTube from the BBC. We just don't know. I should point out it doesn't include the news because there's things they can say on the news that they can't say on other shows. It has a different list of pre-watershed censorship. This brush has a lip at the top of here where the wood goes in, and I keep catching that on the microset bottle as well and thinking I'm going to spill it with that. I was actually thinking I was going to do that before knocking it over. So I was prepared for it to be spilt at some point, but not by me dropping my knife on it. Which evidently is a good job it's a slightly dull blade, because whilst the handle of it landed on the microset bottle and knocked it over, the blade landed on my wrist and bounced off that. It actually quite hurt. So, Gary's top tip for tonight: don't drop knives onto your wrist or your microset. I hope you can all learn from those mistakes, because, you know, after all, I make these mistakes so you don't have to. I've heard worse. That same broadcast an F-bomb back in the 80s while playing the album version of The Love by Transvision fan when it was first released. Oops. That was silly. But you say you've heard worse, right? Surely you'd have to have, like, you know, been around to hear it. Going back to your earlier question, I've seen a simultaneous YouTube and peer and YouTube live stream, so that may be an option for a transition. I've got no intention of jumping ship, but that is interesting. I know, like, with Streamlabs, I can simultaneously stream to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and something else. They've got a few more options in their paid for version. But I'm not sure I'd ever want to try a simultaneous live stream. Just because of having to keep up with multiple chats. But, you know, whilst I've not got any plans to jump ship over there right now, it's nice to know the alternatives are there and that they're capable of doing what I want. You know, for a fact, in casual run street conversation, I say a lot worse frequently. Yeah, so do I. Internet me and real life me are two different people, I assure you. Look at the Scanlime YouTube channel, for example, of this. She runs the PeerTube instance that I use. Interesting. Let's see if I can, midstream, look at what the options on here are. You cannot change these settings when you're live. Shocker. Yeah, so I can do YouTube, Facebook and Twitch. To add more, I would have to go for Streamlabs Prime. Yes, they have actually used the Prime name from Amazon. God, £12 a month to be able to use that. And all it says is and more. It doesn't tell you what those services actually are. So there's that. Dovetail have multi-chat messages on the live streams. On YouTube, chat messages from Twitch have Twitch username in front. It's a real messy looking affair. It sounds it. I'm not a fan of that idea either. I mean, that would be better than them all being completely separate, which I have seen before. I've seen someone who did a simultaneous live stream to YouTube and Twitch, and the two chats were completely separate. Yeah, there we go. We got that whole part of the tender done. To get back to what we're actually doing. That lining works very good. I was toying with the idea of doing my own lining, but using a lining pen, then I thought, nah, too risky. I mean, yeah. I've got one somewhere. I'm not very good with it. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the microsol over these now. I wish I could put a facepalm emoji here. You should be able to. There we go. Thank you, Alex. I was going to say, I was sure that you could put a facepalm emoji up. Transfer lining greater than bow pen. I think bow pen lining is better, just harder. So now I'm supposed to paint this all over the transfers. And then just leave it to dry. Preferably without lifting the transfers as I'm doing it. Spread some of that excess through the middle so that it dries a bit quicker. There we go, one panel done. Why do you think bow pen lining to be better? Because it gives you more freedom to do whatever you want. So you could do complicated inverse curves on weird things. So I can't see the March Room do much for you. Twitch is not really place modelling stuff and PFing here. I can't see bringing in many people. No, I'm with you on that. It's not something I need, but it's nice to know that there are alternative services out there I could use if something happened that made me want to move away from YouTube. At the moment, I am not in a position where I want to move away from YouTube. I am quite happy with YouTube. Put another coat of paint on that buffer beam whilst we're here. But yeah, it's nice to know the options are out there. And that at least in theory, I could leave YouTube. I'd rather use the content to bring people to the platform rather than the platform to bring people to the content. Yeah, but my content's not good enough for that, James. Let's be honest. The way Twitch is going, it's not going to be much better than YouTube soon. The only other real option is Facebook, but that really is a last resort type deal. Indeed, but again, the reason Twitch is going that way is because it's successful. The only reason YouTube is where it is because it has to be because of the law. And Twitch is being made to follow suit more and more now that it's getting bigger. You undersell yourself. I like to think of it as realism, but I appreciate the comment, James. I really do. It means a lot. I may get up enough courage to use a bow pen one day, but I'd have to use a steel ruler. Makes sense. I would want to as well. Don't use Twitch. Which way is it going? More towards YouTube ways. Is that colour red? My screen may be off. Yes. I was painting red on the buffer beam. Big, bright vermilion red. I'd say model railway modelling is super niche in terms of streaming rather than your skill. Fair. Fair. But I still don't put out the content, the type of content and stuff that would draw lots of people in. If I was the size of some of the bigger model railway channels, like Jenny Kirk, for example, then maybe I would be able to say I'm jumping ship and have enough people come with me to make it worthwhile. At the moment, I have 12 viewers, right this second. That's not really enough to make it worthwhile. If say 10% of my viewers come with me, that's 1.2 people. Which way more towards YouTube? So copyright, etc. That you never used to have to worry about on Twitch. You do a lot more now as it's got bigger. I put my content on technology, electronics centered instance, so some of the people there are interested in the electronics end of things. Interesting. Long-haired controller just gave me a stern look and suggested it's time to go to bed, so I'll stand up for myself and do what I want. Night, see you next week. Good night, Paderborn. I would definitely suggest doing as the long-haired controller says. Good night, sleep well, don't work too hard, etc. Who'd be the 0.2 person? I'm going to say, James, you would be the 0.2 person because you're already there, so you don't count as someone new coming over. How's that? So, buffer beam painted. And the microsol on that has now almost dried. So, let's get another panel on behind it. Jumping ship is always super dangerous, even massive streamers found out that. Yes, look at was it Ninja that jumped over to Mixer and like on Twitch he had more viewers than Mixer had in total. SEO had slightly orangish red for buffer beams, or is a slight colour balance issue. That is buffer beam vermilion from Phoenix Precision. So if you have some Phoenix Precision vermilion, you can compare to see if the colour's out. Yeah, Ninja. See, I do remember things occasionally. The jumping ship that went so well that Mixer no longer exists. I've never heard of Ninja. So Ninja is, I believe he still is, a gaming streamer. He was at the time streaming Fortnite, which is popular with all the youths of today. And on Twitch, he was pulling in more viewers than the platform Mixer had registered users. So, Mixer, who were owned by Microsoft, paid him, as Alex says, $25 million to jump from Twitch to Mixer. Which obviously he did because it's $25 million. Of course he did. But his viewership did not follow him. I believe he was, in fact, at the time, of, like when he left Twitch, the most popular streamer in the world. I said vermilion. At least that's what I meant to say. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the most popular streamer in the world at the time of him leaving Twitch. That deal went so good that Mixer no longer exists. What does Ninja do now as he retired at the age of 25? As far as I'm aware, he is still streaming. I don't know if that's true. If he is, probably on Facebook, because that's where all of the Mixer streamers got moved to. Microsoft shut down Mixer, said we've got a partnership with Facebook, and we're going to send you all there and give you all free accounts, and you'll get all your bonuses that you've got here. So he's either streaming still, probably on Facebook, or he is retired. Which, I mean, with 25 million in my back pocket, I would. No one else came with that type of price tag. No. God, no. One has to wonder if Mixer could have continued as the smaller streaming platform if it hadn't have given 25 million to Ninja. Surely with $25 million, well, yeah, I would build a D1, James. You're quite right. That would be my retirement project. I have very little idea what you're talking about anyway. So right now we're talking about a streamer. When I said vermilion, I was talking about the colour of the buffer beam. It's back on Twitch apparently. I mean, that makes sense. If you want to be a gaming streamer, that is clearly the place to do it. Why a D1, not an i3? Because I prefer D1s. Remember, I am a fan of Stroudley. There's no accounting for taste. Indeed, there is not. Which, you know what? No, actually, we've gone past the usual time I'm going to ask. So before I get on to another subject, I'm going to ask what everyone's up to this evening, whilst I am mining this tender, which I don't think will get much more than this side of the tender done this evening, unfortunately. Only this side of the tender body, even, because there's lots to do around the underframe and stuff. 16.8 million followers. He topped out at 3 point something million on Mixer. That really does say how well platform jumping goes. I meant the streaming stuff, not really my world. No, I assumed that's what you meant. I've become quite into the world of streaming in the last couple of years. For some reason. I can't imagine why. Good evening, Aidan Walter. Welcome. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. You join us put in some lining on the tender of a South Eastern Railway O-Class. I'm going to take a quick gulp of the hydration, because hydration is important, before reading out the chat. I'm helping make a school project for one of my kids. Ah, that type of helping that all parents do, yeah? Definitely only helping. Sitting in bed, taking part in this conversation. Well, that is always a good thing to do. To trace my problem. Well, at least that message got through, Kevin. Still seething, failing to calm down despite much trying. That is a shame, Alex. I am very sorry to hear that. And trying to fix my headphones. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I hope that whatever caused the issues sorts itself out. And in my retirement, wow. Don't we all wish we could do that? Is there long to go, Bob? Just it appeared under layout to install a point motor before you asked that question. Well, at least it gave you a nice answer of installing a point motor. It shall not be too long before we get to do all that on stream, because I do now have all of the track for South Park Quarry. I need 239 weeks to go. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but when you think about it, that's going to come round pretty quickly, isn't it? We'll be using servo motors, JMRI, load train net. No. So, South Park Quarry, because it's going to be one that I want the public and especially kids to be able to play with as well at exhibitions. So it's gonna be reasonably simple. I've got seat point motors. It will have switches for switching the points manually, and probably an NCE power cab for the loco control. Not that I'm counting. No, obviously not, Bob. Obviously not. But yeah, point control and stuff on that layout will be analog, for simplicity's sake. Bus wiring is much easier, I heard. Oh yeah, bus wiring is definitely much easier. I fully agree on that. Were it for myself at home and just me, I would totally do that. Maybe. But because it's being done for kids to be able to use, I want a nice, solid control panel with big, easy to spot, easy to use switches that they can flick back and forth and are going to be resilient against small hands. So it's an interesting one. How will Hailsham Oak Hill 2 be wide controlled? So Hailsham is being designed from the ground up with fully custom DCC controls. Everything is being made from scratch for it. Nothing wrong with analog. Indeed, Alex. The plan for Hailsham is that by the time it is done, it will be the most technologically advanced layout on the exhibition circuit. As a result of this, there are things that I do not want to reveal that are planned. Because quite simply, I don't want someone getting there before me. I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'm going to do it. I just don't want to tell anyone. But some of the other features I can talk about. So it will have a day-night cycle, for example. Nights will be much shorter than they would in reality because less services, obviously. But it will run to timetable. With a full day-night cycle, where all the lights will work. So once it starts to get dark, the trains will stop having head coat discs and last vehicle boards and start to have lamps, as the LBSC did. And the lights will be on in the carriages. With day-night cycles, I'm planning on for my engaged eventually, but mine will run in real time. Yeah, mine needs to run a bit compressed because a real-time run of Hailsham at an exhibition won't be great. But I do have the timetables, both passenger and goods, for the time period I am representing. In some cases, I know exactly what loco pulled the services. In others, I just know the class. In some cases, I can best guess it from what was allocated nearby to what services. God, that one did not want to get down in place, but it's there now. I'll see you guys on Discord tomorrow. Need to be up early for work night. Oh, good night, Red. Thank you for coming by. Great to see you as always. See you on the Discords. Definitely want to see this exhibition. Yes, exhibition running is very different from home running. Indeed. I enjoy exhibition running much more than I do home running. Which is why I'm planning a big, complicated, over-the-top exhibition layout. You'd enjoy talking to somebody in the MRC who's been doing the electronics for our club layout. I'm sure I would. I'm very sure I would. But yeah, there are many features planned that I do not want to mention, especially somewhere as public as YouTube, where once I say it, it's out there. Because they are things that they're not. I mean, at least I don't think they're hard things to work out how to make them work. See, that was the paintbrush grabbing it again. I have already worked out how I'm going to make them work. So I don't want to be giving people ideas and then them getting out there with my ideas before I have chance to do them. No, I cannot crimp that in. That is a shame. Since oil and gas industry, where you used to design safety critical electronic systems, recently developed the most realistic signal bounce that I've ever seen operated by servo, can be configured to bounce in a different way depending on the proximity to the signal box. That's quite cool. Very cool indeed. Hailsham will of course have representations of all the point rodding. Which will be perfectly to scale, and I in fact have the drawings for all the correct point mechanisms and everything. As the Brighton used Saxby and Farmer out the box stuff. And I have a copy of the catalogue drawings for 1888 on my laptop. If you can tell us, will this be done in a full computer with software, or will this be custom hardware, or a mix of the two? A mix of the two, James. There will be custom hardware and custom software to be able to run all this. Smell-o-vision. I am hoping not for smell-o-vision, no. Why am I using that? That's going to scratch it. Turning now too. Stay safe, all speaking soon, Bob. All right, thank you for coming, Bob. Sleep well. Enjoy counting down those weeks. So next time we come along, it'll only be 238. And I shall look forward to seeing some progress on that white metal soldering on Cambrian Street. Sleep well. This one's like the last one now, does not want to move over into the right position. And it's just like, nope, I'm not going to be there. Okay, that'll do. That's in place. enough. Do my best. Very interesting. I'll definitely enjoy seeing this on the exhibition circuit. Excellent. We're getting there. The installing point motor seems to get easier with time. Quadrangle 17 is significantly easier than quadrangle 3 was. Yes, I'm sure it does. One of those things that you get into a flow of how to do it. Watching the transfer slide is very similar to pinning jewellery for display. I shall take your word. I can imagine it is now that you mention it, but it's not something I've ever done. Getting there, as BR said in the 80s. Exactly. Hopefully, I will get there sooner than they did, though, because I'm still not sure they're there. I've learned a few things, such as drilling the holes to allow for lateral adjustment. Yes. And that will, of course, make it easier as you start learning these shortcuts. There we go, then let me paint that one on fine. If your timetable automation is automatically linked to your day-night cycle, I will definitely be impressed. Well then, James, prepare to be impressed. Hope you can do that on my lab, but I've not yet fully worked out how to do this. Well, as I say, prepare to be impressed. Preparing to be impressed. Excellent. I've been on this project with Hailsham for so many years now that I have had plenty of time to get every little detail worked out to perfection. Will Hailsham have scale couplers? Yes. Yes, it will. Hailsham has really good running for that. There are only a few trains a day that need to actually uncouple and run round in the station on passenger workings. And they can be dealt with by operator position 1, as I'm calling it, which will be my position. That's why I'm calling it number 1. We'll be able to uncouple and couple those trains. Other than that, the only things that actually need to uncouple and couple are the goods workings, of which there are 2 a day. However, the timetable for these working, when I said 2 a day, that's 1 in each direction. The timetable for these workings is like leave Polegate 6:30 AM, arrive at Erridge in less than 6.5 hours. So once it leaves Polegate on its way up, it does not have a timetable slot that it has to fill. It just works its way between passenger trains. And the run back down is even slower. I think it's a 10-hour run down Erridge to Polegate. But, you know, these numbers are off my head. It's been a while since I've read them. Don't hold me to them. So it gives you quite a lot of freedom for shunting the goods and coupling things. You don't have to be working to go, oh, I need to rush and get this shunted. You could just take your time and do it and send the train off again whenever you're ready. It says the idea that you have a yard shunter as operator number 2. No, operator number 1, so that will be me, will be in charge of shunting operations in the yard and also uncoupling engines in the station that need it. Everything is worked out so that I have a position I can do all that from. There will then be operators 2 and 3 who will they will have a fiddle yard each, essentially. All they will need to do is keep each fiddle yard set up in the right order, right trains on the track. That is basically all 2 and 3 will be doing. So they get nice, simple, easy jobs. Oh, and they'll get to choose the specials, because there will be a variety of special workings. Automatic driving. So I've got it planned that it will be able to have automatic driving. The operators 2 and 3 will be able to override that and run the trains themselves if they want. In manual mode, operators 2 and 3 will run the north and south signal box respectively. So Hailsham had a signal box at each end, which, you know, work out as being quite that you can go from fiddle yard to platform, platform to fiddle yard as the 2 signal boxes quite easily. So in manual mode, they will be driving. They will be setting up the trains, driving the engines, and running their signal box. And because they'll be running their signal boxes properly, there won't be any collisions. So if we say, for argument's sake, because I haven't actually given the numbers out to which side they are yet, but if we say, for argument's sake, operator 2 is south, and operator 3 is north. Yes, Kevin, I can see that message. So my thoughts on making sure the signal boxes are run properly and trains are run to box is operator 2 will take the train out from the south up the line into the up platform. which is actually an up and down platform, but for this example, it's an up platform. At which point, they will hand the train over to operator 3, who will take the train from the up platform to their fiddle yard. I know you can, but can anyone else? Yeah, fair enough. Can anyone else read what Kevin is writing? There's 2 messages there. So then, in the other direction, operator 3 would send the train out southbound into the down platform. And then from the down platform, hand over to operator 2, who will take it from the down platform to the south fiddle yard. The local Eastbourne to Hailsham services would be handled entirely by operator 2 in that instance, who would drive it up from the south into the up platform, the shunter would uncouple and give clearance for then the loco can run round using the down platform as the run round loop, be coupled up again at the other end in the up platform, and head back down south. Can't guess what you think. About this so much. And, well, it's good to know that everyone can read it, Kevin. It sounds very fun. I'm glad you like the plan, James. There's also the option that some of, not all of, but some of the local services, so the Eastbourne to Hailsham ones, will be on push-pull sets. So that there will be no need to uncouple and run round, which will make things that bit simpler. How many days per day do you plan to have? That will depend entirely on how it runs. I will need to get the layout up and run the timetable on it before deciding that. See what I can realistically get in. Which will obviously be a 3-person job. How much would one have to bribe Gary to get to be operator number 2 or 3? I don't think bribes would be needed, to be honest. Do you envision speed profiling the locos? Yes, every single one. I want every loco running at an appropriate speed. They will all be tuned to perfection in their DCC settings. That's one of the things I like about DCC, is that you can do that. So they will all drive like the real things. I don't know if they've worked it out yet, but both my kids are going to be very well trained as operators of said layout. Because what's the point of having kids if you can't use them as a built-in as a homegrown operating team for your model railway? Really? Yeah, it's an approved tuned perfection. I can definitely recommend emoji codes in that case. Nice MX 633 or MX 635 with Stay Alive. Imagine that they won't object too much. Hopefully not. They both enjoy doing exhibitions. So hopefully they won't. And you know what, Gary Bot? You are absolutely right. Hydration is indeed important. But yeah, there will definitely be shows where where they won't be available and I will want other people as operators. I have already had a few people volunteer for the role. But, you know, I'm always happy to have more. The more backup operators, the better. How long do you imagine all this taking? So that's really, unfortunately, an open-ended question. In theory, I could have the whole layout done and operating within a year. Quite easily. But being it's not a layout I can operate at home because of its size, it is not the priority. The priority is things like South Park Quarry, Oak Hill Mark II. And of course there is now a lot of time spent on customer work. But I might have some announcements soon that are going to mean I have more free time. It will also depend on how often I can get the layout put up. Because at the moment it only goes up when the kids go away to their mums, and with everything going on, they haven't been able to spend the night round there all through the last year. So if that changes, that will improve that and get it done quicker. But yeah, so for the moment, it really is a how long is a piece of string question, unfortunately. Any planning for some random special scenarios, variety, i.e. breakdown sections like kind of more like game like. Yes, there are plans for stuff like that. So there are planned special workings that will include things like the Eastbourne Pullman having been diverted off the Brighton main line, or the Sunny South Special having been diverted off the main line, which will come in two forms, the Sunny South Special. There will be a version of it hauled by a Brighton B4 440. There will also be a version of it hauled by an LNWR precursor, number 7 Titan, because there is a photo of Titan at Brighton Station, having hauled the Sunny South Special all the way. Theoretically, I could also use one of my i3s on the service, because number 23, which I have a model of, was a regular on the Sunny South. So there's plenty of variety there. The Eastbourne Pullman will be hauled by a G-Class single, evidently. 3 American-style Pullmans in tow, which is a prototypical rake with the prototypical logo for the year I want to represent. And in fact, interestingly, I like that one because, so the layout is set in 1912. The G-Class that was on the Eastbourne Pullman by then stayed in improved engine green through till it was withdrawn in the spring of 1914. So despite being a layout set very much in the Umber period, there will be at least one improved engine green logo. In fact, there'll be at least 2. Carrie, are you giving me more excuse to start modelling LNWR? Oh, I am, Javier. Is that a problem? There is a gem kit for the precursor. I believe I've seen photographs of that very train. My father used to live in Preston. My mother grew up near Swansea, so I approve of LNWR. St G-Class was retained just for the Pullman service, was it not? It was indeed. That was its only duty at that point. And in fact, only on a Sunday. What view will be taken of visiting engines? There's nothing wrong with visiting engines. I am very much not a rivet counter, so visiting engines will definitely be allowed. Out of area, out of period, not a problem. Other special workings I have planned. There will be a ballast train made up of 2 ballast brakes and 12 dumb buffered ballast wagons being hauled by a terrier in black. Well, it doesn't help convince me to finish my backlog, so which the list is getting smaller. Oh, less backlog is the best backlog. That's annoying. It's barely too long. I'm talking of engineering plant ballast trains. I think I found all the kits I need to make one for Aero Park. Excellent. I very much approve of that. So we've got a little working arrangement between ourselves. I am working on the ballast wagons for 3D printing, as you all know, or at least some of you might know. Some of you have probably forgotten. It's been so long. Rob, or Woko, is doing the ballast brakes to go with them. So between the two of us, we will be able to do the train. And with this lining, I'll be able to actually sort the loco. Very much enjoyed seeing one of the 8-wheelers at Ballon though. I'm a particular fan of them. Yeah, that was a very nice picture. I would love to say I'm a fan of Ballon, but I've been there. No offence to anyone who's currently in Ballon or has ever been there. But I mean, if you're there or have been there, you totally understand what I'm saying. I may have mentioned some time ago, when my double O gauge eventually gets built and I find that I am any good at / enjoying kit building locomotive carriages, I hope I may backdate it one day to a pre-grouping period. It'd be interesting to be able to build some pre-grouping LBS seater lights and run them somewhere suitable on a visiting basis. That would be absolutely fantastic, James. I would very much approve of that. I would definitely approve of visiting LBSC goodness from your layout once you discover how much you enjoy doing what I do. Gradual diminishing, Olympics aren't diminishing. Olympics right now, she's quite strenuous. Many years in the future, I expect. Well, don't worry, we have many years. Basically, I've done nothing on that layout in over a year, so there's plenty of time yet. And there'll obviously be like there'll be a breakdown train as well in the specials. Trying to think what else I have planned for the special trains, because I do have 8 or 9 different specials planned, and there will be slots on the timetable just called special that operators 2 and 3 will be able to say, oh, okay, I want to run this now, so I'm going to run this now. There we go, we got the other side on. I need to self-update more often, but I think that the current list is 5 prototypes. Only 5? You need more. Cambrian Dancehall brake comes with parts to make the ballast brake version. 579 shivers do SR ballast wagons. I might add a Rapido SECR5 plank as well. Sounds like a good idea to me, Alex. That really does. One of the things like B1s, B4s, D1s, maybe Terriers, probably B2s too. Fantastic. Specials, do you remember the good old days before the Ghost Hound? No. Oh, God, always believe in your soul. Cow and Sheldon something or other. Yeah, Cow and Sheldon 15-ton. As produced by Oxford, the Brighton had 2, Southeastern and Chatham had 1, or the other way round. I can't remember. someone feels like correcting me, do so. I've got 2 on order, so I'll do 1 of each. I'm really tempted to add a third and do the full set. But look at that. We've done it. We've put transfers on that side of the body. So this side, it still needs transfer all down the valance, all the way along the bottom, around the axle boxes, up the other side, and around the openings before this side of the tender is done. Yeah. I know. But it looks better than just plain black now, even with the terrible lighting, because it's too high. And also because this is black. So the camera doesn't know what to do. There we go, I was doing it wrong. And then this now has a red buffer beam. Ready for, I suppose, buffers to be added and the coupling. And lots of lining. Luckily, the balancing on this side is really easy because it does just come down, along, up and along. It doesn't do loads of complicated shapes. There's another bit that comes down and round the wheels, but it's not going around anything. So it's coming along nicely. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm actually quite happy with it. Now, I'm assuming the back has one of these double panels on it. See, when I lift it up this way, the lighting's much better, isn't it? Yeah, I'm assuming it's one of these double panels on the back, but I've not actually got info for the back. So I'm going to leave that for now and see if I can find out for definite. But that's what I'm assuming it is. I could be very, very wrong. I've got another side to do. I've got all that balancing to do. All sounds fun. What I need right now is some hydration, because hydration is important. Especially when you talk non-stop about a layout for as long as I've been non-stop talking about a layout. I can't believe I put that paintbrush down there. I put it straight in the microset that spilled everywhere and now it's soaked. So yeah, really, the next thing we want to do is all this, which looks like an ever such fun job. I'm really looking forward to it. What I'm interested to know is what the curve on these biggest curves is like. When compared to the openings in the side of the frames. Let's try and not break the springs on the camera's boom. I suppose the only way we're going to find out is to try and apply it and see what happens. There is a part of me that is tempted to try and do round these bits with paint, because I could use the edges as a guide to make sure I don't go a million miles off. I never microsolved over that second side, did I? That second panel. I should do that before I forget. But yeah, let's try this transfer and see how it looks. And if it's not going to be doable, we'll see if we can do it with paint. Because of course, if we do mess up with the paint, we can just paint over it again. It's not the end of the world. But that there has fitted to that edge quite nicely. Layout lighting, white LED with different colour temperatures, premium RGB LEDs. That is the plan, yes. I will be experimenting more with that, but yeah, you're on the right. You're on the same thought process as me there, James. Put it down in the puddle again. Let's get this second panel done and try and not pull it all off as we do it. That would be great. I did say try and not pull it all off. Didn't say I'd succeed, did I? Apparently I find pulling transfers back off quite easy. I was planning on having one strip of daylight white, one strip of cool white, one strip of very warm white, mixing them depending on the colour, temperature and daytime in question, perhaps with an Arduino, but the complex thing is interfacing the Arduino to train controller. Well, you're thinking along the same lines I have been, but it's one of those that final details will come after experimentation. But I do believe I already have at least most of how my integration between the day-night cycle and the running is going to work planned. Again, it could go disastrously wrong. But, you know, we shall see. Useful to include a blue strip also for night, I've heard. I know a lot of people that use blue for daytime as well. Night is not blue, it's just bluish white. Yeah, but I know people that use that for their daytime lighting use a strip of white, a strip of blue, a strip of white, a strip of blue, etc. Reasonably close interval, like 1 inch intervals or so. I believe it's pure white that they use when doing that, rather than warm white, but I'm not sure. It's a model railway, not a disco. Well, last time I checked, yes. I've never known my model railway to be a disco. I could be wrong. Yes, but we also know people who run model trains round in circles at scale 200-mile-an-hour, tension lock couplings and mixed class 66s and steam locos. Well, yeah, but I wasn't talking about those sorts of people. I was talking about people who know what they're doing. Now, I'm not sure I want to use another of these large ones, but I don't think the small ones are going to be enough. I mean, this is why I've got 2 sheets of these, so I can experiment with getting the curves as I want them. So, let us experiment. I'd be researching cold temperature at any given time, day, to the same extent as the running numbers of the locomotives. Well, see, the problem there is it varies day by day, doesn't it? Depending on the weather. Darn that weather. So have a multivariate system, time, day of year and cloud cover. Yeah, exactly. We'll need all that. It's not quite long enough, but it does curve that corner really well. I might be able to fill in with small straight bits. Take another couple of these for the other one. Enough wrong potential loss and system from steam locos joint stop movements. For those 3 days we should have an algorithm giving intensity for the 3 strips. Well, yes, that is certainly a good theory. So it turns would the backdrop be backlit as well to achieve the effect? Interesting, not sure how to achieve that. Yeah, that is an interesting one. I think you'd have to. My engage out the backdrop will be very close to the fiddle yard, so it may not be practical. I mean, your best bet would be that your backdrop, the sky was overcast with a backlight behind it, that you could vary the temperature of the light to bring either white clouds or even blue skies if you varied the temperature through it. would be how you'd have to do that. Whether that's a practical way of doing it or not, I don't know. It's nearly quarter to midnight. Don't blame me if I'm talking rubbish. I can't even remember to put microset on for my transfers. Never mind talk sense. But how would one even get the materials? So I would imagine for the sort of thing I'm describing that your back scene would be mainly essentially a lightbox diffuser like I've got over the workbench, but obviously not as powerful and with strip lights rather than bulbs to give it a more even light coverage. If one's going to those lengths, one would also be thinking about putting lights in the buildings in the back scene, and that would be a bit extreme. Oh, would it now? Would it now, James? Are you sure about that? Because again, if you do your how do one get 7 metre long, 20cm high diffuser? By buying the material rather than buying a diffuser and building it themselves. If you're doing this for your layout, I'll be very impressed indeed. I'm definitely not. I'm brainstorming theoretical ideas based on what's been said in chat. The point of nothing is impossible, even if it is hugely impractical. Seems like a theatre, and why not? I would argue that an exhibition model railway is a theatre in a sense. The locos are your performers. They come on and off scene. And they tell a story whilst they're there. But we're in the O-gauge model of Brighton Station circa 1885 level of impractical. Oh, no, I think we're well past that, James. I think we're well past that level of impracticality. O-gauge Brighton in 1885, a walk in the park compared to this. Up to COVID, my second job was a theatre designer. Oh, yes, I remember you talking about that before. And I think that's really awesome. All the world to stage, indeed. I mean, let's be honest, I'm a performer. I have created the character of Gary the streamer who comes on and talks to you every Sunday night. YouTube is my theatre. Interesting job was fun. I can imagine. I like the theatre. I remember when the theatre was a thing. Yes, as do I. It was great, wasn't it? For the record, Gary, the streamer who comes on here and performs for you on a Sunday night, is essentially an exaggerated version of the real me, and also family friendly. It's not like I'm a completely different person off camera. He says whilst very rarely being on camera. In the part, well, I am glad. Which bits are exaggerated? Everything is exaggerated. My entire personality is exaggerated over what I am in real life. So me the YouTuber is I'm a caricature of myself when I'm on camera. This may surprise you, but I don't actually shout "Hello, everybody" in a really extended way when I walk into a room, for example. I realise that must be soul crushing for some of you, but I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Now let's see how well this plan is going to work, and let's try not to keep punching the camera. So the idea is that this bit that I'm doing now will join up the bottom here. And then we'll make some little bits to fill in the sides. Before I meet you, I will insist to greet you like that. So, obviously, having kids at a secondary school and being a professional YouTuber does mean that there are people in real life who recognise me, and having an over the top intro like that, they know who I am. So I have genuinely been greeted in the street like that before. And it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Streaming and YouTubing is pretty much all acting to varying degrees. No one is 100% as they are in real life. Exactly, Alex. When that live button hits, we become our streams, our public persona. In the same way a TV presenter does. Because again, I hate to break it to you, but your favourite TV personalities don't act like that in real life. But amazingly, I think the the stream version of me is always happy, no matter what has happened. The stream me is always happy. It doesn't matter what mood I'm in at 5 to 9 on a Sunday. As soon as I press the button to flip over to the camera, stream me takes over, I am happy. And it's fantastic. It's one of the reasons I love streaming. Because it's great fun being the me that I am when I'm streaming. Gary's spitting straight facts. I don't have any favourite television personalities. I don't know who most of them are. I don't even have a television. Well, yeah, that's fair enough, James. Can't argue with that. Sometimes that's for the best. Problem is, most of my TV is used for Netflix and YouTube, so is it even really TV? This is what I found. I just couldn't keep up. Stream me. Some nights it was just too hard. No, I totally get that. I totally get that. There is something about hitting that button and doing my massive over-the-top intro. It's like flicking a switch inside my head, and I stop being Gary, the parent and businessman, and I suddenly become Gary, the YouTube train person. And it's fantastic. Television for YouTube, dear me, I was proud to watch on the computer. At least I can use an ad blocker on a computer. Well, yes, that's fair enough, but I don't. The ads don't bother me, honestly. Ultimately, my anxiety one of the end has which my neighbours are too loud and my kids would never let me live stream anything. As it is for Zoom calls, I'm on mute until I speak. Yeah, that's fair enough. So that's another thing, as Alex brings up there. Real life Gary has terrible social anxiety. I struggle to talk to people at all. String me can manage just fine. I struggle to talk to people I know at times in real life. Never mind people who I've never met before who turn up to my live streams and say hi. We've got 3 minutes. I want to finish one of these sides at least if I can. Streaming equals therapy. See, no, I would love to say yes, but no, it doesn't. Because as soon as the cameras are back off, I am the other me again. It is only whilst the camera is rolling that I am this me. Temporary therapy. Yeah, temporary therapy. That'll do. It is temporary therapy. But, I mean, as an example, there are times in the street where, you know, walking down, there's an alley that goes from mine to town. You walk down there, at each end there's one of them double gates to stop cyclists. And there are times when I will move out of someone's way and let them through that gate. They will say thank you. My anxiety I will try and reply to them, and I physically can't. I can't get words to come out. But I come on the camera and I'm like this. Some people found it helped, some people found it made it worse. Most people just cope whilst doing it. Yeah, that sounds about right. I know that feeling, Gary. I've got major depression, but it's really nice to hear it's relaxing. Equally, my mood switches instantly when I put my porter's uniform on. So I do thank every one of you here for helping me lighten up. Well, anything we can do to help. And I am hoping at some point in the nearish future, I'm going to be able to get down to Sheffield Park and see you in your porter's uniform and go, hello, Alexander. This streaming must be a great release in that case. I can see why you enjoy it. It really is. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. And it is really weird. But as soon as the camera goes off, I will be that me again. There we go, that one is finished, and it is midnight. But doesn't that look great? Look, we got really well around the hole in the frame there. I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with how that's coming along. I would have liked to have got a bit more progress done this evening. That is not the way the gods have smiled on us tonight. But I do think we are making some great progress, and we are going to have an absolutely fantastic loco by the time it's done. I cannot wait. I am really enjoying this. I've really enjoyed all our talking this evening. I've had an absolutely fantastic time. Streams like this, where we're doing this sort of thing that I know isn't the most thrilling watch, I always get really nervous about beforehand. But I've had a great time tonight. I'm sure at least James has as well, as we've been talking layouts. I especially enjoyed learning about house and plans. Yes, I thought so. So yeah, I have really, really enjoyed this evening. And all our real life talk at the end there, and you know, you lot learning about real me. And to make another point on that, I will turn the camera off in a second after we've said good night, etc. I will then about 5 minutes later, turn the camera back on to film the review. I will have to psych myself up to do that. Despite having been this me just now, I will have to psych myself back up to be this me again because the camera has gone off. It's weird. But that's just how it works. Real Gary and Stream Therapy. Indeed, James. Good stream. Thank you, Aidan. I'm glad you have enjoyed. The brain is weird. It is indeed, James. It is an extremely strange thing, the brain. I wish it was something we could understand more. But as people say, as they say, if the brain was so simple we could understand it, we would be so simple that we can't. Better than the alternatives. Indeed it is. We certainly have the best position in life where we are. It's a gross foldy pink thing. Yes, very, very true. So yeah, I'm sure there will be more understanding the brain one day. Well, yes, that is true. One day there definitely will be, because people are amazing. But anyway, here we are at the end of the live stream. We've got quite a decent amount lying on the tender. I am really happy with how that's going. And you can see, compared from that to that, how much that lining makes the logo pop a bit more. So I'm really happy with getting that done. Next week, we'll obviously have to continue with that. It'd be really nice to get this side completely finished and even get the springs and everything on it next week. I would absolutely love that. But what I might do next week, before doing that, I might do the paint on the rear buffer beam and start on the lining on the loco. That way we've got all the painting done and we don't need to get the paintbrushes out again for it. We can just get it transferred and finished. It still needs an identity. It does not have I have not decided on an identity for it yet. So we need to decide on an identity, and I need to find a way of getting South Eastern Railway number plates. I don't even know if my SECR livery stuff has a template for what South Eastern Railway number plates look like. So that might be an interesting one, and I'm not aware of anyone that actually makes them. But obviously it needs one at some point because it's going to be an Oak Hill loco. But right now we have reached the end of the stream. I had a great time. I hope you have had a great time too. I am really looking forward to next week already, even though we haven't even really finished this week yet. But all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching. I've been Gary, this has been Let's Build. You've been awesome as always. Good night.